This section of my Commonplace book was about Augustine's Confessions, and one of the things that I really thought was interesting that captivated me was just how he kept talking about how earthly habits, the body, everything is weighing him down. Like that's what's keeping him away from God, and so really that's what these two sections are about. The first one, the quote I thought was really interesting. It says, "The body which is corruptible weighs down the soul, and our earthly habitation drags down the mind to think many things." And so I drew a picture here of the soul as a heart, and it's looking up, and there's this body, and it's weighing it down. And in my picture too, I have the soul, the heart, has two really big eyes, and it's like looking up, and then this body, it doesn't really have like a, it doesn't really look like it's alive. It's just a body. So the reason why I drew it like that was to show that really where we are, like where we're living, is in the soul, not really our body. And so it's trying to get away from the the earthly things, earthly body, and that's what's dragging him down. And the second image on this picture is basically the same thing. The body's dragging away the mind, down to the depths, just keeping him away from God. If you really look closely, there's a lot of like erase marks and stuff. That was just me like coming up with a bunch of different ideas, and so that I could really capture in my mind like what I think that Augustine's trying to say about this. So I think like drawing really helps me like visualize it, and then really put it down on paper. So in this section, Augustine, he was talking about in chapters 8 and 9, he was talking about just the will, and how it's kind of getting pulled back and forth from like God and accepting him, and then earthly habits, and them dragging the will, kind of like over here too with the will. But then just his like process of figuring out like how this is actually happening. I thought that was intriguing, because at first he was like, there's one will, and it's just getting like ripped apart by these two things. And so he was thinking like, well, that can't really happen, because if that was going to happen, then you'd have like half a will with God, and you've had half your other will with early habits, and like that wouldn't work, because you just tear your will in two. And so then he was thinking, well, maybe there's two wills. And so but then he was like, that really can't work either, because you're one person. Two wills would make you like two people. And so then so that was like the second part, and then the third part has his will is being accepted by God, and then I have this proof showing that the idea of two wills, of the one will being captured by earthly habits, is just gone. So this shows that, it really shows in my mind, you either have your whole will in the hands of earthly habits, or you have your whole will in the hands of God. So that's why I drew it like this.